today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, which is characters. So our last episode we talked about kind of creating your outline, and I create my characters at the same time that I'm creating my outline, but I wanted to give characters their own episode because characters are so important. Characters are what create your story. It's what draws your audience in, as long as you can make that connection between that character and the audience. So on my website there I do have some film aids available for purchase, and within those film aids I do have several character creation things that forms I've created that I use every day as I'm creating my characters. And my characters are so important to me. They are my best friends. They're my life. I have gotten into fights with my characters, and the sad days are when the characters win the arguments. My friends are always laughing because I'm just like, my character made me mad. So with characters, what you need to do is you need to have a name for them. I know some people, they care about the name meaning, so they'll put down what the name means. You'll give a description of what that character looks like. I find that if you don't give yourself a description of what your character looks like at the beginning of your story, that character is going to look one way, and the end of the story is going to look a whole nother way. So with my characters, I always find an actor or an influencer or some random person on the street that I see at a store, and I kind of sneak a picture. I don't do that a lot. I only do it with people I know. But most of the time I use an actor, and I use they're my visual inspiration for a character. It has nothing to do with them personally. It has nothing to do with any of the characters they played. It's literally I'm looking at their face. So I put that picture at the very top before I put the character's name below it, and then I start putting in descriptive stuff. You're also going to want to talk about the characteristics, or this is how they start at the beginning, and this is how their character changes by the end. You're also going to want to have their backstory and any like major conflicts that they're going to have within the story. You're going to want to put onto this document. So what characters should you have a backstory to? Not every character is going to need all that information. So my main characters, my outlines for my main characters are always 1 to 2 pages in length, depending on how that character changes and how much detail I want to put for the character. Now, when it's kind of a smaller character, they don't have a lot of information that you need. Sometimes I make it very short. So like your character works in an office, so they're dealing with four co-workers, and you do bring them in and out of the story. Well, they're not in there enough where you need their backstory, but they're in there enough that you're going to want to write down kind of their behaviors, the normal clothes that they wear, their names, kind of what they look like. You're going to want to have that so you remember what they look like later down the road, so you're not flip-flopping. I wish I remember the name of this book. I read a book once, and this character was Asian when the book started and ended up being African American when the book ended. And I read the book like 3 times trying to figure out where I had gone wrong, and then I was like, no, this person just changed the character halfway through with their nationality and missed changing either the beginning or the end, wherever it was supposed to be changed. So I'm very picky on making sure everything stays correct from beginning to end. So the more detail you put in there, the more it will help you stay true to the characters that you have created in this process. So when creating a character, you have to make sure that the character helps your story. Like, why should I care about this character? Is it a good character? Why should I care about the villain? Or is it a villain that you want everyone to hate? Each way is great. But that character needs to make a connection with that audience, or there's no point in having that character. When you start creating your characters as you're going through the what if scenarios, your main plots, your conflicts, and the twists in the series, through the timeline, kind of helps create your character. So as you're writing that outline, you're also creating the character, and as things are happening and you're coming out with conflicts, that kind of helps shape the backstory of your character. Do they have half siblings? Are they orphans? Why are they orphans? What has happened to the parents? Were they the real parents, or were they adopted parents? So as these questions come out, you start building this backstory and you start elaborating on their life, and those characters start to take their own form, their own shape, and you'll start to see the different things within those characters. At the very end of this video, I'll take you through one of my, I'll post a couple pictures of some of the outlines that I've done. I do, on my Wattpad, I do have the meet the characters, but I just write a short little blurb because I don't want to give the full information of those characters, because that's something that is personal to me usually, where it's not that I share with other people. The biggest thing, if you don't want to do a lot of information on your character, I know some people don't, the biggest thing is at least have a paragraph. At least write a paragraph for each of your characters about their name, how they act, what they usually dress like, if they have a certain like dress, and then any information that's going to help you with your character later on. And that is the main thing with characters. Make sure they're relevant and make sure you give them a life of their own. So I hope this has helped you kind of figure out what you want to do with your characters, how to kind of put together your character's information really quickly. Again, with that Excel file, this is where I go to the Excel file that you created in episode 1. That's where I go and find the names of my characters I want to use, the last names I want to use, even personalities and characteristics. I created a little tab at the bottom for that as well, so I wouldn't have to keep looking it up, and I could easily pick and choose as I'm building this character. I hope all this helps, and I can't wait to hear about your characters. Have a great day.